go back to tell the story about the time of going to the White House, I was in Chicago, and we were all jamming around in any jam session that we could play in Chicago. Anybody with everybody, and at one time we had a little group there with Paul Winter. He got us together for some college concerts, and then it turns out there was a college contest for jazz bands, and we entered that, and we won the contest. So like that must have been about 59 to 60, and there were some good judges on that panel, by the way. One of them was John Hammond, and I think another one might have been Gene Lees. At the time, Gene Lees was the editor of Downbeat magazine, and I forget who the third judge could have been. Anyhow, they picked us as the winner, so it was verified we were a decent band. And the following year, the Kennedys were looking for entertainment. They were inviting some dignitaries from around the world, all countries, about a dozen countries, and they were bringing their families and their kids to Washington. They asked them what they'd like to see or hear for entertainment. The kids of these politicians and they weren't celebrities, they were politicians. The kids wanted to hear American jazz. American jazz. They'd heard so much about it. Well, they just went to the jazz band that had won the intercollegiate college jazz contest, and it was us, and we got picked to go. So it turns out before we were even going in the White House, the news came out that John F. Kennedy is having jazz in the White House. He's going to have the first jazz band ever in the White House. Well, immediately all the people started thinking, "Oh, I wonder who it's going to be. Is it Duke? Is it Basie? Is it Ben Goodman? Who is it going to be?" And then they said it's going to be Paul Winter. Of course, it was like, who? So that we got a lot of flack that people didn't like this, but it was for the kids of these people, and it just so happened it was a very significant thing that did go down by us being the first jazz in the White House. So anyway, we went on and proceeded to go in to do it. And I'll never forget the day walking into the White House. The Marine band, like a big band, would sit up outside the front door, and they were playing some kind of Duke Ellington tune, like Satin Doll or something, right there on the porch. But they weren't inside. And so we went on inside, and that's where we set up in the Lincoln Room over there, where they have their little programs. And we did the show. And that particular night, John F. Kennedy never came into the room. He was down in the basement with Caspar Weinberger and a few other guys, and it was the night of the Cuban Missile Crisis. Now, we didn't know anything of what a missile crisis was. We might not have known what a missile was. And but we were up there in the room, and they had the whole show go on just like normal, no problems. And all these kids were around in their beautiful native outfits. I mean, the Japanese girls would have on like the geisha things, and the Indian girls had the beautiful sarongs and wraps and headpieces. And the room was very colorful, like at a wedding. And when Jackie walked into the room, it was like the bride came into the room. And it was not, I've seen pictures now back there of it. She wasn't wearing white, I don't think, but there was a glow around her, and everybody, of course, was looking at her. So it did turn out she lit up the room. And so anyhow, we went on and played and did that show. The reviews came out that yeah, the music was, I forget how they worded it, but the music was so loud that the Lincoln picture was shaking on the wall and whatnot. But it came off very successful. I mean, the kids were hearing it, knowing they hadn't heard anything like jazz like this before, and it was very successful. So we got a little credit for that. But today, if that 50 cents would get me a cup of coffee, I'll tell you.